This is the PCH25 petrol chainsaw from 909. This is a 25cc chainsaw with a 12-inch bar. It's two-stroke, which means it requires the addition of oil to be added to the unleaded petrol. Just going through what is provided with this saw. First of all, we have a tube spanner with a flat-bladed screwdriver on the end. We also provide a small chain file for sharpening up the chain, a small screwdriver for adjusting the flow of oil to the chain. There's also the 12-inch bar with a roller nose and also a 12-inch chain. A shoulder strap which connects to the rear of the chainsaw, and a bar cover for protection. We also have to add some spikes to the front of the chainsaw. So assembly wise, the first step is to fit the spikes, and then we'll fit the chain. So first step is to remove the side cover of the saw completely. So we have to undo the small nut and also completely unscrew the rear cover knob and remove the cover. The spikes fit in a recess at the front of the plastic moulding, like so, and retained with two screws. Don't attempt to use the chainsaw without these spikes in place. The spikes provide a pivot for the cutting action of the saw. So if used correctly, the spikes should be hard onto the timber, spiked into the timber, and the nose of the saw, or the nose of the bar, is lowered by lifting the back of the chainsaw. Spikes are held in with these two screws, ensure that they're firm. Now we're going to fit the bar. The first thing to do when fitting the bar is to adjust the bar locator so it's in the backward position. That is, with the bar so it is fully to its shortest length. Now on this chainsaw, adjustment of the bar is made on the side of the saw. It's not made on the front where most saws are done, it's on the side for ease of adjustment. So what we do is we turn this in a anti-clockwise direction, and that moves this small locating pin fully back. Then we locate the bar over the stud and onto the two locators, like so. And we get the chain. Always check to ensure your direction of chain is correct, and place this over the clutch and onto the sprocket. Ensuring the bar is in its shortest position, fit the chain over the nose wheel, like so. Don't worry at this stage how loose the chain is. Remembering, of course, our pin is in the shortest position. We now place the cover onto the stud and rest up against the bar. We can then just start the knob at the back for location. At the moment, the locating pin for the bar is sitting on top of the bar. It must locate into the hole in the bar. Do not put the nut on until this pin is fully located. The side cover should be sitting flat on the bar. At the moment, you can see a large gap. So what we now do is, with slight pressure on the side cover with my hand, we now grasp the bar and we gently pull out and it locks into position. The cover has now dropped onto the bar. Holding it in place, we put the nut on, finger tight. We also do up the rear knob, again, finger tight. Now, to adjust the bar, we take the screwdriver, locate in the adjustment on the side of the bar, side of the cover, and turn in a clockwise direction. And this will extend the length of the bar. Now, as soon as it starts to move out, you just need to double check to make sure that the chain is running in the groove of the bar, both top and bottom. Once it's in, we do a little bit more. Again, constantly check to make sure. Make sure we've got a free running chain. Tighten until there's 3 to 5 millimeters of movement in the chain. Tighten the back cover. And then tighten firmly the side cover nut. Once the chain's on, it's always best at this stage to put the cover on. The chain is extremely sharp and we don't want to have any accidents. Side cover should always be placed on the chain when it's not in use. Whether or not the chainsaw is being or is about to be used or in storage. The chain does not have to be moving to cut your hand. The shoulder strap can be fitted on the rear of the saw, like so. Very handy to have the shoulder strap applied. Now this is a 2-stroke chainsaw. It requires oil, 2-stroke oil, to be added to the fuel. The fuel is unleaded petrol, preferably ethanol free. The ratio of the mix is 25:1. So if we're mixing 1 litre of fuel, we'd have 1 litre of petrol and we would have 40 mils of oil. If we're mixing 5 litres of fuel, then you're looking at 5 litres of unleaded petrol with 200 mils of oil. We should use a good grade of 2-stroke oil, suitable for lawnmowers, stationary appliances, chainsaws and brush cutters. A mixing bottle is provided. It is not a storage container, but it will assist in mixing the fuel. When you've mixed the fuel, always ensure to give it a shake. Make sure the fuel and oil is completely mixed together. On the side of the chainsaw there is 2 caps. The first cap we're looking at is the fuel cap. So we remove your fuel cap and we add our mixture of 25:1. Always make sure you double check that you've put the fuel in the correct chamber. Make sure the cap is put on firmly. Then we look at the oil. We need to add lubricating oil for the chain. Chain lubricating oil is not the same as any type of engine lubricating oil. It's specifically designed to hang on to the chain at high speed. Don't use old engine oil or any alternative oil. Always try and use proper chain oil from your chainsaw store. Oil is added. And when full, replace the cap. Now, whenever you refuel the chainsaw, always check to make sure there is oil in the oil chamber. Normally, the ratio, and it can be altered depending on how you have the oil set, but normally it's 1 for 1. If you refill the fuel chamber, refill the oil chamber as well. If you do not use oil, or the oil runs out, then damage to the bar and the channel will occur. So it's better to have, always to have plenty of oil in that chamber. Okay, currently we've put the chain on, we've put the bar on, our spikes are on, we've got fuel and oil in the chambers, so we're now ready to start this saw. To start the saw, move the spindle or the chain lock forward. This is a brake which activates in the event that the chain saw flips back. The brake is on at the moment. By sliding or pushing the handle towards the main handle here, we'll release the brake. Push the guard forward and the brake is now on. The brake will prevent the chain from rotating. Move the on-off switch to on. The choke. Pull the choke lever or the knob all the way out. On the side here is a small pump. Pump this 6 to 10 times. Remove the cover. It's now a matter now of pulling on the starting cord briskly to turn over the motor, which in turn will start. Now the motor started and then it stopped straight away. What that's done is it has filled all the chambers now with fuel, and now by simply pulling the trigger once and releasing, the choke automatically drops down. We now hold the saw again and pull the cord. The chainsaw is now operating. To release the brake, pull the guard forward, making sure that the area is completely clear. We can now operate the saw by pulling the trigger, and the chain of course will go round. Turn the chainsaw off, simply press the 0 or the O on the switch. Now it's important to check that the oil is being pumped through onto the chain bar. And when I started the chainsaw up then, I accelerated the saw a few times. And this is to bring the oil through. Once the oil is through, it hangs onto the chain. But with the chain running at high speed, it throws the oil off. And if you do that, if you run the saw just above a piece of timber, you can see a line here, which is where the oil has been thrown off. So now I know that the oil is coming through onto the chain. Whenever you're using the chainsaw, periodically check it, just to make sure that the oil is coming through, because it doesn't take long to start to damage the bar if the oil doesn't come through. Now, we've operated the saw for a few seconds there. After about 30 seconds, 60 seconds of operation, on a new chain, the chain will become loose. Okay? So what we do to tighten the chain is simply loosen the main cover screw, insert the screwdriver, and turn until the chain is firm again. Then tighten the nut. When you finish using the chainsaw, it's always best to drain the fuel from the chamber and also drain the chain oil from the chamber. Whenever you're putting the chainsaw in the back of a car or in the putting it away, ensure that it is sitting on something in case there is a build-up of oil underneath the saw, which may have a tendency to leak. Always place the cover back on the bar for safety and also to protect the chain. Under the saw, there is a small screw inserted. There's some directions on the base of the saw, and that is to adjust the oil level. In other words, if you want more oil to come through or less oil to come through onto the bar, this screw can adjust that oil flow. In my opinion, it's best to have too much oil than not enough oil. This is only a small saw, so don't attempt to go out and log down or fell large trees. This is a perfect little saw for cutting small branches, pruning, and those sort of applications around the house. It will fell trees up to probably around about 8 inch in diameter. However, if you're going to fell trees, be sure to get some specific instructions on how to fell a tree. Again, this is the PCH25 chainsaw from 909. It's a 2-stroke, 12-inch, 25cc saw, and very, very good for those small pruning jobs, clean up around the home and the yard.